Hello and welcome back to another brand new review where in today's video I'm going to be reviewing I Am Legend. Okay, so I Am Legend. I love this movie. It's one that I seen when it first came out roughly when it first came out in cinema. I remember my older cousin brought me to see it when I was 9 and I enjoyed it. I definitely covered my eyes a hell of a lot more during that than I would nowadays because I was much more of a wimp back then. But I thoroughly enjoy it, and it's one that I love returning to every now and again. It's actually been a while since I rewatched it, so that's why I decided to cover it for a review. So it gives me an excuse to actually rewatch it. And the version I rewatched was the alternative ending version. I'll get to that later on. So, I Am Legend is actually based off of a book series, and it's not the first time an adaptation of this book has been made into a movie. It's been done countless times under different names, but this time it's under the title I Am Legend, and it takes place in 2012, and the virus outbreak happened in 2009. So what do I mean by a virus outbreak? Well, in the movie, we open up on like a newscast of this woman who has successfully been able to cure 10,009 people's cancer. And then, of course, as a few months later, that turns into this big virus thing that turns the people not into zombies but vampires, essentially, or versions of a vampire. Is the best way to describe it. In this movie, they don't necessarily look like your typical vampire thing. They look more and they also don't look like zombies. Anyway, so there's an evacuation. They scan people to see if they've been infected because it's airborne at the same time. So, but the main character of Robert Neville, played by Will Smith, is staying behind whilst his wife and daughter and dog. Well, originally the dog was going to go off with them, and thankfully it didn't because they die. The wife and daughter die because some of these vampire creatures attack a helicopter that spins that out of control, and it crashes into that helicopter. And then we flash forward 3 years, and it's Dr. Neville with his dog Sam by himself going out hunting for deer, loses his kill to a lion because they're all on walkabout now because he's really the only one that's left standing. He's the only one at the time that we know is immune, and so he's going around during the day, and then at night he's staying inside, so that way they don't get to him and they don't know where he is. Um, but on one of the days, whilst they're chasing a gazelle, um, or a deer, the dog Sam goes running into a building during the day, but that building's blacked out, and that's where all these not daywalkers, but vampire creatures lie. And so they just barely make it out, and head on back home. And then it's maybe a day or two later that he does what he's done in the past. He's captured one of them because he's trying to cure it. He's trying to cure this man-made um, virus, and he's successful with rats. So he's going to try it on a human test subject. So he kidnaps this woman, about aged 18 to 20, and at first it kills her, and so he revives her and um, keeps her for observation because he wants to try and figure it out, and she's still alive right now, just heavily sedated. So he goes about his business, but you see these vampire-like creatures, they've gotten smarter now. In the 3 years, they've kind of gotten smarter. With one of the ones obviously being the dominant one of the species, kind of looks like John Cena. I'm not gonna lie. Um, they then use they take some of his stuff, and they rig a something for him to get caught up on, like the vampire creature girl that he had kidnapped the day before. So he then gets strung up and knocked unconscious in the process. And he eventually cuts himself down, but he accidentally stabs himself. And it's also at this point, it's getting close to dark, and so the head creature, um, comes out with two dogs that are the same and it's the biggest Chekhov's gun essentially in the movie, because early in one of the scenes when he's going through a house, looking for supplies and that, on the there's a snippet of a newspaper that says that something about dogs coming out at night, so that so it can affect them. The It's revealed that the airborne virus won't affect them, but if a animal is or a dog is bitten by one of them, they will obviously turn into one of them. So that's unfortunately what happens to Sam. She gets bitten a bunch, and he has to kill her. And it's a very sad scene. Uh, it got to me when I was a kid. Is hit a lot harder now, um, because I had to watch my own dog die, um, 6 years ago, that I've had for many years, and yeah, so yeah. Anyway, back to the movie. So he gets pissed. He goes on a rampage. Gets saved by this woman and a kid, and turns out they're also immune. And then his Dr. Neville's house gets attacked by these creatures. And in the original ending, the theatrical ending, which now isn't canon to the plot, and I'll explain that in a second. In the original theatrical cut of the movie, Robert Neville basically gives Anna a sample of her blood, tells her to escape, and he takes a grenade and he sacrifices himself and takes all them out with him. But in the alternative ending, which they include on the Blu-ray, you can watch both the theatrical cut and the alternative ending. And I watched the alternative ending because as of recording this on the 18th of February, to kind of give you an idea of when I'm filming this, a day or two ago, they announced that they're doing a I Am Legend 2 with Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan, and they're actually sticking with the alternative ending. The alternative ending is now how the movie ends. So yeah, in the end, it turns out these creatures are involving because they are. It was pretty self evident with how they managed to jerry rig the trap for Dr. Neville. They knew um, his his maneuvers. They knew that. You see, in the movie as well, he talks to a few mannequins that they're people. He's been alone for 3 years. All he really has is his dog for company. So, in order to kind of not go insane, he puts all these mannequins around so he can talk to them. He gives them names and treats them like friends, essentially. And so these creatures take Fred, which is the one of the characters, and bring them out where he's not normally supposed to be. And when the head guy is essentially trying to break into the glass, because that's also where the captured creature is, and the vaccine starts to work, because Dr. Neville had a idea of, if you cool their body temperature down first and then give them the the cure that he's made, it actually works. Kind of. It's not. It doesn't work fully, because he has to obviously give the person back, because the head creature makes the sign of a butterfly, and this other creature, the woman creature, has a butterfly tattoo. Dr. Neville does that. He gives them. They leave after trashing his house, and so himself and Anna and Ethan, the boy, drive off to go look for one of the human compounds of survivors. And that's how now the movie ends. And I'm interested to see how it plays out for I Am Legend 2 whenever that comes out, if it does come out. It could be another one of those movies that is announced that it's coming out, but could be in limbo for development hell for a while, or just get cancelled outright if they can't find the right writer or director. I think they have a writer uh, announced for I Am Legend 2, and they said that it's going to be like The Last of Us. Um, but I'll wait to see when that comes out. But yeah, I genuinely love this movie. Will Smith does a fantastic performance. He really does do an amazing performance in this movie, because he's essentially isolated by himself in this movie. He's for a while he thinks he's the only surviving human left in New York City, and even though he's putting out messages on radio every day to meet at a particular pier at 12 noon when the sun is the strongest, which means these vampire creatures can't really go out at noon. Well, they can't go out at all because they'll burn, but they can't go out anyway because the sun is at its most strongest. And yeah, he does. He plays the role really well, especially when he has to kill Sam, his dog. That really emotional. It's a very emotional scene. The score is amazing for this film. Like it really, really gets you. Um, but yeah, I personally enjoy it. It's definitely one of my favorites. That I like to return to every now and again. Like I said, it's been a while, and I'm using this review as an excuse. And it's a fantastic movie. It's a fantastic like, if I was to script this, because it's not scripted, obviously, if I were to script it, I would have gone in a hell of a lot more on uh, Dr. Neville's character, the way Will Smith portrays him. But I'm already rambling for 13 minutes. I don't need to ramble for any more longer. But there you guys go. Thank you all for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know what's next. I'll have to check my schedule. But you obviously will know what's next. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll catch you all on the next upload.